Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we are jumping straight into a truly chilling narrative today, pulled right from some incredibly dark, fascinating folklore. We're heading to Berampur. Now, it's this gorgeous little village tucked away in the valleys of Madhya Pradesh. But man, do not let that scenic beauty fool you. This place is hiding some ancient, terrifying secrets that have literally haunted its residents for centuries. So get comfortable, because we're about to unpack a story that weaves together ancient curses, vivid nightmares, and a desperate scientific quest.
Right, picture this. You're walking down a foggy, desolate dirt path in the dead of night, and suddenly, echoing out of the pitch black, you hear this heavy, rhythmic chant. Boom, boom, bash. According to the local lore, hearing that specific sound in Berampur means only one thing. The Nishir Molo are near. It's a sound that instantly sends absolute terror through the locals. Like, it literally means a waking nightmare is right around the corner.
So, you're probably wondering who or what exactly are the Nishir Molo? Well, the folklore describes them as four terrifying figures who specifically roam the village boundaries on Saturday nights. Their heavy footsteps sync perfectly with that horrifying chant, and here's the really creepy part. They carry a taboot, a coffin, right on their shoulders. And listen, the village lore is incredibly strict about them. This isn't just some spooky ghost story they tell kids around a fire, it's treated as a lethal reality. If you cross their path, your survival depends entirely on a very strict set of rules.
Okay, let's dive into this survival protocol, because the source text gives us this chilling flashback about a young guy named Madan. It was a Saturday night, and Madan just wanted to go hang out with his friends. His dad, absolutely terrified, gave him these exact instructions. Step 1. Hide immediately the second you hear those heavy boots. Step 2. Under no circumstances do you look at them. If they see you, or honestly, even if you just see them, you're done for. Step 3. Wait for absolute dead silence before you even think about coming out. His dad was literally pleading with him, but Madan, he just brushed it off, telling his dad the village was stuck in the dark ages.
Well, as you can probably guess, Madan broke the rules. He's walking along the forest path, the air suddenly drops to freezing, and he hears it. The chant. He panics and dives into the bushes, but you know how it is, curiosity and fear take over. He peeked through the leaves with just one eye and saw the four coffin bearers chanting their mantra. They actually walked right past him. He thought he was completely in the clear, but the second he stepped out of the bushes, the quiet shattered. The chanting started again, right behind him. He spun around, and they were just staring at him. He was found dead the next morning under a banyan tree, and his face was frozen in the state of absolute, unspeakable terror.
Part 1. 400 years later, the search for the antidote.
All right, so our story shifts from that horrifying event 400 years ago all the way to a modern, bustling laboratory in Delhi. Here we meet two dedicated researchers, Meghna and Ishita. They are working under super tight deadlines to create a specific antidote for Professor Jaidev. But it's clearly taking a massive psychological toll, especially on Meghna. She's being tormented by these severe, recurring nightmares. In them, she's trapped alone in this foggy, dark forest, running for her life from a giant, terrifying bird. But here's the detail we really need to focus on. Right before she wakes up in a cold sweat, she always crashes into this very specific, ancient tree. And from its branches, this strange, glowing green liquid is dripping down. It's totally exhausting her.
Meanwhile, Professor Jaidev is breathing down their necks. They desperately need a breakthrough for this antidote. Ishita is pulling her hair out, digging through all these ancient folklore and mythology books, hoping for a clue. And suddenly, she stumbles on a legend that might just be the scientific miracle they need. She finds a reference to something called Mrityunjay Amrit, which translates to the immortal nectar. According to these super old texts, this miraculous green liquid drips from one highly specific tree, but only on the night of a full moon.
Now this is where science, myth, and psychology completely collide. Ishita brings this ancient book over to Meghna, trying to convince her they need to look into it. Meghna glances at the page and just freezes. The hand-drawn illustration of the tree that produces this Mrityunjay Amrit, it perfectly, identically matches the tree from her nightmares. I mean, we're talking the exact same trunk, the exact same glowing green liquid. It's a complete match. This is the catalyst for them. They literally pack their bags that same day.
Part 2. The journey to Berampur. A chilling welcome.
So driven by this crazy coincidence, Meghna and Ishita endure a grueling 5-hour bus ride out to Berampur. They're posing as historical researchers so they can poke around and find this nectar. But let me tell you, the village does not want them there. The absolute second they step off that bus, the warm, sunny weather instantly violently shifts into freezing, howling storms. Deep in the village, a sacred lamp inside the chief's temple just inexplicably blows out. And the local priest? He starts seeing these dark, swirling shadows moving through the sky overhead. It's like the arrival of these two outsiders has tripped some sort of ancient supernatural alarm system.
Even with that deeply unsettling welcome, the village chief actually kind of takes pity on them and offers them a place to stay. While they're getting settled, his son, Anuj, tells them all about the centerpiece of the village, the massive, ruined 400-year-old palace of Raja Surajban. Meghna and Ishita know they have to explore the area to find that tree, so they convince Anuj that for their historical research, they absolutely have to see the inside of this palace. The catch? They have to sneak in at midnight when everyone else is fast asleep.
Okay, this right here plants a huge narrative seed for everything that follows. Midnight rolls around and Anuj sneaks them out. The main palace doors have literally been jammed shut for centuries, so they have to climb in through this stuck, dusty old window. The moment Meghna's boots hit the floor of this 400-year-old ruin, she's hit with a wave of déjà vu so strong she almost falls over. She turns to her friend and whispers, "I feel like I've been here before." The architecture, the layout, it all feels deeply, inexplicably familiar to her.
Part 3. Midnight, the Awakening. Let's move to the timeline and see how this builds, because as Meghna is standing in the dark questioning her own sanity, the timing of what happens next is terrifying. At exactly 12 a.m., they breach the palace. Literally 5 minutes later, at 12:05 a.m., a sound that hasn't been heard in years cuts right through the howling wind. Bum, bum, bash. The Nishir Molo are awake, and by 12:10 a.m., two separate, completely simultaneous events of sheer terror strike different parts of Berampur. Back in the village proper, absolute panic sets in. The priest bursts into the chief's bedroom totally frantic. The chief can't even process it. The Nishir Molo haven't walked these paths in years, but there's no mistaking that sound. The heavy thud of boots, the rhythmic chanting echoing off the walls. Everyone in the village is just cowering in their beds. The curse has officially returned, and it's completely intrinsically tied to these girls trespassing in the old palace.
Meanwhile, out on the fringes of the forest, two local guys, Sampat and Kapta, are out gambling, completely ignoring the storm warnings. Out of nowhere, through the heavy wind, four figures emerge, the Nishir Molo. With these glowing red eyes, the bearers stop dead in their tracks right in front of the two men. Slowly, they lower the heavy wooden taboot to the ground, and then the lid of the coffin starts to creak open. A second later, a blood-curdling scream rips through the night, so loud the entire cowering village hears it.
But the terror isn't just happening in the forest. Let's get back to the inside of that 400-year-old palace. Meghna, Ishita, and Anuj completely freeze. Above the sound of the howling wind outside, they hear something else inside the palace with them. The slow, methodical thud, thud, thud of heavy boots pacing the ancient corridor. Then, with a massive, violent crash, a heavy wooden door swings wide open, revealing a mysterious figure just standing there in the darkness. Which brings us to the ultimate cliffhanger of our source material. We are left staring right at two terrifying unanswered questions. What in the world emerged from that coffin in the forest to make those men scream like that? And honestly, more importantly, why does Meghna, a modern scientist from Delhi, have perfect memories of a 400-year-old cursed palace and the tree of the immortal nectar? Is she the key to finding the cure, or is she the very reason this curse woke up in the first place? I'm going to leave you to ponder those dark secrets. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the shadows.